good to see all of you virtually, unfortunately. It's great to be here and to celebrate with you the work of the U.S. Summit here for the Trillion Trees Initiative, a global initiative of which we are extremely proud and excited. As you know, the President Biden, loves trees and understands the connection between trees and climate. And that's why I'm here. I'm part of the White House Climate Policy Office, and I want to celebrate what you are doing because it is advancing the interests that we have in climate. This goes way back in terms of President Biden to the very earliest days of this administration, when on day 7 he issued Executive Order 14,008, which recognizes explicitly the connection between nature and climate, forests and climate. And in that executive order, you'll recall, he embraced the 30 by 30 initiative to try to set aside and conserve 30% of the landmass of the U.S. and 30% of our ocean for conservation to help the climate. And I shouldn't say set aside, what I mean is conserve, because working landscapes are part of conservation, and good forestry practices are part of conservation. And in fact, that same executive order also charged Secretary Vilsack with creating a climate-smart agriculture and forestry initiative, which he has done. And that initiative, which is now well underway with a $1 billion commodity partnership program, is looking for the good management of forests to help conserve carbon, but also provide all those other benefits that you know better than anyone come from trees and forests: the biodiversity, the clean water, the community support, the cultural and spiritual aspects of forests. More recently, on Earth Day, the President reiterated how important to him forests are in that executive order that he signed in a Seattle park, Executive Order 14072, strengthening the nation's forests, communities, and local economies. 3 major pieces of it. One is to protect mature and old growth stands in our federal forests, the National Forest Service forests, the BLM, the Park Service forests, etc., to create an inventory of those important stands for the first time ever, and then follow up with an appropriate management approach that will help to conserve the carbon and the long-term benefits that are in those old trees, and tell the world how important they are. That same executive order recognized that wildfire is a huge threat to our forests. I know it's a consideration for you all as well. And as we see these wildfires, it reminds us how we have to manage our forests well and replant and replenish and deal with the impacts of climate, hence plant the trillion trees and more. That same executive order on Earth Day talked about international deforestation, the threat it poses, and has the United States entering into the fray here to deal with the problem of deforestation globally that's occurring in order to create agricultural commodities that we are buying here in the U.S. as our other economies without knowing what the destruction is that's behind them. So we're taking that on as well as at the President's behest. And finally, in that executive order, the President talked about more generally how important nature-based solutions are to our climate crisis. He asked for a report from our office to the National Climate Task Force and to him to see how we can lean in more on nature-based solutions to solve so many of our threats, the climate threats we're seeing, the need to be resilient in the face of floods, of wildfires, of extreme heat, of coastal erosion. For so many of these things, trees and nature generally are a solution that not only will help with the resilience, but will also help combat climate by sequestering carbon and keeping our nature strong. So your organization is playing a huge role in this effort. We are so thankful for what you are doing, and we are grateful for the partnership that we have with many of the organizations that are here today. We look forward to continue to working with you, and we ask for your support for all the initiatives the Biden administration, the president himself, is pushing in this arena. Thank you very much.